errors early on, which were soon punished by some clinical finishing by the Dons. Improved defence in the second half kept it respectable. Mikey Russell again, the brightest in attack. Pray to the whatever high atop the thing. We can see more of him in a Bears shirt.
I think he's just saying, like, whatever deity you pray towards. Get him. Yeah, but he came off the bench. I think he came off the bench and scored the one try that Coventry scored in that game. But Doncaster's good run of form continues there, so we'll see that when we go through the league table now. Bradford and York stay well clear of the pack, with the Bulls extending their points difference advantage over the Knights. Workington have 28 points in third. Oldham, Doncaster now into the top 5. Hunslet and Whitehaven, they all have 26 points. As the race for the top 5 playoff places really heats up there. Newcastle and Keighley, they're on 20 points. They've probably given themselves too much to do now at this stage. Then come North Wales, Coventry, Scholars, Hemel, and finally West Wales. Into the NRL, where it was round 21 and I saw nothing from the NRL this weekend, and it's just occurred to me when I was just thinking about how little NRL I saw this weekend that I've also not done a quiz because I was so busy out at games. So in round 21 of the NRL, it was Bulldogs 36, Broncos 22. Bulldogs are a funny side this year.
Yeah, it's like,
win when they shouldn't, and then lose badly to all the bottom four, the bottom six.
Broncos have been so inconsistent this season, though. It's they've just been so up and down.
Yeah, I've never seen them play well, no. Yeah. Knights 16, West Tigers 25, Rabbitohs 30, Storm 20 in a big result at the top of the table. George Burgess 148 metres, Tom Burgess 145 metres, Sam Burgess 1 try, 5 tackles, 204 metres.
Did you see the try from the hooker? You must have seen that.
Oh, yeah. That Cook, yeah. Absolutely rapid, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's his... I mean, the oft-mentioned beach
runner, yeah.
Dragons 12, Warriors 18. Bit of an upset there. Great, James Graham 105 metres and Gareth Widdop 1 try assist. Eels 28, Gold Coast Titans 12. I don't know why I wrote Gold Coast, not Titans. Roosters 26, Cowboys 20, Sharks 32, Seagulls 33. And then Panthers 40, Raiders 31. Hodgson 3 successful offloads, Whitehead 1 try and 5 tackleable. So little bits of flash from our
Raiders are just not. They just can't do it. Obviously next year they're going to have more English talent.
Yeah. So South regain the top spot on 32 points, 2 ahead of the Storm and the Roosters on 30. The Dragons hold on to 4th with 28 points, but that's thanks to a better points difference over 5th place Panthers. Sharks, Broncos and Warriors, they're all on 26. They round out the top 8. West Tigers are the best place chaser with 22 points. Realistically, the Raiders and the Knights, who are come behind the West Tigers, they've got an outside chance of making the top 8. They need a lot to go their way. They need to win each of their remaining games and see some other teams.
Well, no, that's not good for the Raiders, don't we?
No, they're going to something cruel is going to happen to the Raiders. But yeah, so it's kind of looking settled in terms of the top 8, other than what West Tigers might be able to do there.
I did watch I watched some of the back end of the Roosters Cowboys game. That was that's quite an exciting finish on that, because it looked like the Roosters were going to smash them, and then JT sort of scored a really nice little try, and then they sort of came back into it. It got quite exciting at the end, but they just can't do it this year, the Cowboys.
No, I've not seen them excite me at all. So they're kind of like a cross next to their name every time they come up, from my point of view. But that's interesting to hear. So maybe they might upset a couple of people over the last. I think there's 4 regular season rounds left in the NRL, so it's kind of coming towards the climax there. Okay, that is all the results looked back on. We're now going to look into the future with our preview and predictions. Previews and predictions time now then, in association with Love Rugby League. Head to loverugbyleague.com for all the latest news, gossip, opinion pieces and even more stats on the greatest game. A few of our news stories for this week were lifted directly from the pages of our friends at loverugbyleague.com, so please do go over there and check them out. And also read the article that's going to get put out in the middle of every week with our previews and stuff. You're going to have listened to them, you're going to have heard them, but read the article, get the page clicks up, so then it works in my favour when I negotiate a new position for ahead of next season with those guys. But it's the start of the Super 8s. It's very exciting. One of the things about the Super 8s that people are talking about, Leigh, and interesting to get your view on it, is it's a bit boring now because it's sort of all settled. Is that it's almost all settled? Is that a view you subscribe to in any way, shape or form?
I don't know. Obviously, with my team in fourth, and I can very much imagine that we could fuck it up. No, I think it's. I don't think it's settled at all. I think there's obviously teams coming bang into form that had a poor start. You know, your Huddersfields and your Catalans that could potentially cause an upset. Your Hull, although they're busted, have still got a chance, haven't they? And Warrington and Cass could easily lose their games. I think it could happen, definitely.
I subscribe to the view that it's probably the top four now is very on very solid ground, and I certainly want to think that way as well, being ensconced in that top four with Wigan. But that doesn't mean it's going to be boring from my point of view. I mean, I think look at the games we've seen just of late between Wigan and Warrington and Castleford, St Helens and Warrington, Wigan and Saints. These have all been really fiery, intense encounters that have been enjoyable to watch for fans, and they've felt like quick games. They've felt like atmospheric, action-packed games. So we're going to see more of those games. So why shouldn't we just enjoy what we're going to see and not get so obsessed with that there's maybe some league positions to settle potentially already? It just aggravates me at that point of view. But in the Super 8s, round one starts. They're all Friday night games. These all 7:45pm kickoffs. They've kind of brought that in uniform across the board. It looks like for the Super League teams, probably to try and get some consistency there and everyone knowing what's what. But it's Hull FC versus Wakefield is the first one we're going to talk about, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to have the first word on this one.
Right. Hull, obviously their home team, but they are suffering with injuries. I just mentioned that they're kind of busted, aren't they? They've got a lot of their key players out. Although is Snead back?
Well, even if he's back, he's been diabolical when he's been back. I think he came back too early, and it didn't seem to have any point in doing that.
But yeah, they've got a lot of their key players out.
Kelly might be out for the season. That's a problem for them. And obviously Connor's out for the season, and he has been their best player this year by a distance. It feels like. Yeah,
and Wakefield are they kind of got. Not they probably won't get in the 8, so that I don't know if mathematically in the top 4, but they're kind of playing for pride and position, and they've got a good team that doesn't seem. I'm not aware of any particular injury problems that they've got.
Other than Scott Grick seems to be on the outer for injury, but you're right. And they've kind of got a settled sort of match day 17 or so. The one thing. No, go on. Your prediction.
Yeah. So because of that, I've got Wakefield winning this 24-16.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got Wakefield winning too. Similar reasons to you. I think at the moment Wakefield. I do think they've binned off a lot of the depth, and I think they've done that knowing that they're where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that when they've got the first choice side on the field, they can't beat other teams. They definitely can do that. If they get some injuries in this 8th, then they might want to try and play some younger players or what have you. They're a team that have got reserves that they play. So they might give some chances out, and that might hamper them at that point. But at this point, I don't think that's going to happen, whereas Hull are just way off the boil.
Yeah.
And I don't see Hull mounting a challenge. So I'm going to go Wakefield. I'm going to go by 14. I'm going to say 30-16 to Wakefield, and so I think they'll win reasonably comfortably. Okay, the next game on Friday night then, St Helens versus Huddersfield. What you've got here is top of the league, but with question marks over them now, against probably the form side in Super League at this stage as we're talking. So some of the questions that were asked about St Helens, that we were asking about what's going on with Ben Barba. Has he kind of become a bit of a myth? And also, what are they going to be like the Castleford of this year? How are they going to manage through this, because they're already in the semi-finals? What are your answers to those questions?
I mean, I think that the Ben Barba thing's a strange. It reminds me a little bit of what happened to us with. God, it's getting late. My brain's gone dead. Oh God, what was our incredibly good halfback 2 seasons ago from Australia?
Kurt Gidley?
No, the.
Sandow, Chris Sandow.
Chris Sandow, God.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, obviously he was untouchable early doors, and then he really tailed off, and he couldn't. He couldn't. I don't know whether people
got ripped off in the final, didn't he?
Yeah. So I don't know whether that's what's happening or what, but something's not quite right. I don't know whether he's playing with an
injury niggle.
Yeah. I mean, his hands was on his knees. He just didn't seem to. He got walks over in full back in defence. He just wasn't the player that he has been earlier on in the season. So that's a concern for for them.
I think people are getting physical with him now. They're thinking this is the way you get at him. Get physical with him.
Yeah,
and
obviously this time of year you always get that sort of players are negotiating behind the scenes or the contracts contracts with the club, and people are pissed off, and because they're not. I think John Wilkin potentially who isn't was pissed off on that he's not getting another contract.
I have a feeling that he's done at Saints.
Yeah. So you can sort of you get that sense of that happening, even though it's the business end of the season. People are not happy. I can't see that team with those quality players, with the James Robies and. They are on paper a better team than Huddersfield, even though Huddersfield have come in with all the form, even the quality players like McGilvery and stuff. They've got Saints have got Makinson of a sort of a similar standard, and so I think St Helens will be hurting. They'll be wanting to put on a performance to show that they're still contenders, and I think St Helens will win, and I think they'll win well as well. I think it'll be on their own turf in front of their own fans. I think it'll be 30-12.
Wow, big win for Saints. I think Saints will win too. I do think they'll want to bounce back, and I do think they've got the skill to bounce back. I don't think we should underestimate this Huddersfield side in any way, shape or form. I think they're defending and attacking well. I think it'll be quite a close and intense game. I think Huddersfield need the win, but I just fancy Saints to have enough composure in the key moments of this game, especially at home. So I'm going to go Saints by 4. I'm going to go 24-20 in favour of the Saints in this one. Okay, it's the goodwill game. The goodwill game in terms of the way the weekend went, and also the two sides that are going to be facing off each other in the Challenge Cup final. It's celebration time for both Warrington and Catalan. I think Catalan will be allowing themselves to celebrate it a little bit more than Warrington will be allowing themselves, because Catalan in 8th position probably will be realistic about having too much to do. They're going to be managing things now, I get a sense, but this week I don't think they'll be managing much other than Bernard Gauch's credit card limits. That's about all they'll be managing, I think, this week. So I do expect Catalan to be a little bit hungover in this. They might make a few changes. When they made a few changes against Wigan, what that showed is they've still got some powerful players in that depth, but they don't have players who can be consistent for a whole 80 minutes. That's why I think Warrington will win this one. I don't think this will be an intense game. I get the feeling both of them might be a little bit loosey-goosey. But I'm going to go Warrington. I'm going to say Warrington by 8, so let's say 30-22 to the wire. What do you think?
So when we met a couple of weeks ago, I think it was a 20-all draw.
It was a draw, yeah.
So that and that was a tough, intense battle. I sort of take your point.
Game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I think I know, again, just from listening to interviews with McNamara, that they've got to fly back to France, and then they've got to come back. And
they had a big welcoming committee at the airport as well.
Right? Yeah. But they've so they might have been out on the piss. They are. They're flying into Stansted and getting a coach up from Stansted to the game just because of the way that it's fallen.
Wow.
Yeah, so they've got like a bit of a. So I think that, and I do think that they will rest players as well. But I still thought it might be a close game, and I'm backing that we've been practicing our drop calls.
Go on.
Because I'm going to, because I've gone for a 21-20 with a Tyrone Roberts set up drop.